Oh yeah, future Sugarry here. Warning, yeah. This is a bit of a longer video. Probably the longest I'm going to ever upload on this channel for at least a long while, but that's what happens when legal stuff happens. So be prepared. It's not a full yap fest because I can't just yap about random shit. I have to at least let it be related to the topic. Alright, into that shit. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the concession stand. Yeah, this one's gonna be a bit of a last minute thing because I was not aware that this happened. Like, this article was dropped yesterday. Like, I didn't see it till like yesterday night, so I had to get to this immediately. Genshin Impact game developer will be banned from selling loot boxes to teens under 16 without parental consent. Pay a $20 million fine to settle FTC charges. Game developer Conexpert allegedly unfairly marketed loot boxes to children that obscured real costs and misled all players about the odds of obtaining prizes. That's interesting. Because if you think about legal loopholes, it's like you can eventually find a way to see how they could like get these charges against them and actually successfully get them fined. But coming from someone that just plays gacha games on a regular, I don't know how specifically they would do that. But let them cook. The maker of the video game Genshin Impact has agreed to pay $20 million in block children from under 16 for making in-game purchases without parental consent to settle Federal Trade Commission allegations the company violated a children's privacy law and deceived children and other users about the real cost of in-game transactions and odds of obtaining rare prizes. God dang, run-on sentences, a comma, a period, something. This could have been split into 2 sentences minimum. You know, and then if we go down a little bit further, apparently goes into deceived children, teens, and other players into spending hundreds of dollars on prizes they stood little chance of winning. Yeah, the chance is very small. Companies that deploy these dark pattern tactics will be held accountable if they deceive players, particularly kids and teens, about the true costs of in-game transactions. So what could have possibly even led to this is a matter of 2 factors combining together. One is Genshin's massive popularity. Like just if we go to the Google Play Store and search up Genshin Impact, it's marked in the 100 million plus downloads territory, but with an astonishing massive 3.3 star rating with 4.84 million reviews. Like, oh man, that's not a good look. That's factor number 1. Number 2, I feel that someone or at least multiple people in the FTC play or have played Genshin Impact and got the worst possible luck when pulling for characters. And also don't like the fake point system either, even up to that extent. Like, that's my guess on how this even came to be. But not only that, we have a complaint filed by the Department of Justice upon referral from the Commission alleged that Singapore-based Cognisphere and its California-based subsidiary Cognisphere LLC, which do business in the US as Hoyoverse, actively market Genshin Impact to children and collected personal information from them in violation of the Children's Online Privacy Protection Rule, which we know as COPPA. The complaint further charged hoyoverse deceived players about the odds of winning particularly sought-after 5-star loot box prizes and how much it would cost to open loot boxes to win the prizes. There's a virtual currency system that the players had to navigate to open said boxes, and the marketing and promotion tactics used to entice players to open loot boxes were unfair to children and teenagers. Because the important thing in all of that are 2 things. It's that the confusing virtual currency system that players had to navigate, and the marketing and promotion tactics used to entice players were unfair. Well, the confusing system, well, it really is a pretty simple. You have this currency called Primo Gems. You get them from doing daily missions, which caps out at 60 per daily reset. Then you get them from events, you get them from certain story missions. You can get them from when they decide to hand them out in the mail, and then we got promo codes that they decide to hand out for just random things that go on, or live stream events that show off the next update, so on and so forth. You get 160 of those, you can do a singular pull on the banners, or as they call them, loot boxes. Like this is COD or some shit. And to potentially increase the amount of chances you can get in getting the featured thing in the loot boxes, we have these things called Genesis crystals. And Genesis crystals convert 1-to-1 with Primo Gems. So if you buy this 3280 pack plus the 3280, all of those you can convert 1-to-1 to increase the amount of chances you get at pulling the said 5-star prize from said loot box. And like, it is a very easy system. Remember, no. But the one thing where it does, you can't ignore, is the marketing and promotion tactics used to entice players to open loot boxes were unfair. Because a lot of factors build up into this. Like, one, it's just natural FOMO of missing out on something that's new and you won't be able to see for a while, because it's like these characters aren't in the game. These characters aren't pullable at all times of the day. Like, obviously we have our standard pool, but then our limited pool is whenever they decide to run the banner. So, and you never know when they could rerun a character, because let's type this in. How long it fuck. It been since Shenhe rerun. Because the last time she had a banner was on March 21st, 2023. And it is January 18, 2025. Like, that is some massive FOMO. And then their marketing along with it, which we all know and love. If I can find it. Where are you at? Which we know in the gacha space as drip marketing. And to explain what drip marketing is for someone who could possibly not know, it's just previewing, just showing off a character that will be released and be pullable within a future update that has not been technically announced. Because it's like, we have current update, and obviously we have the current update that's going on, and then a little into that update, before a live stream even happens, like some weeks before then, we get what's called drip marketing, where we basically at least know what we should expect in terms of the characters that'll be on banners. And then eventually we get our live streams, and then our characters. Like, sometimes it's even as far as like showing off a character for the update that's after the one the live stream is showcasing for drip marketing, but that's another tangent. I'm not trying to go all far into that. I need to keep this video a little bit shorter. But those factors, which we have FOMO, we have the FOMO, the promotion tactics with the drip marketing, and one thing you do notice is the color palette. Like, as I was scrolling, we got about every color in the gnome book Like, out of all the hoyoverse games, this is the most generally marketed one. Out of all of them. Like, they're... Because of the ways Genshin made, for not only Gacha, but just gaming in general, when it released, it's like, it decided to just straight up market itself as something more generalized, to like, get people into the Gacha space. And with general kind of marketing, it's like marketing that isn't leaning towards something extremely specific, mainly in color palettes. And it's like, big color palettes, they really catch the eyes of especially children. And it's just how things are. Whether they directly or indirectly plan that, no, we'll never know until it says it out of their mouths directly. That, and then also in-game factors with, we already know, there's a certain word called power creep. And then also along with a mix of other things. Yeah, it does become unfair. There's a reason why I left Genshin during Sumeru, and I'm not returning that shit. It's not happening. I actually tried once. That was supposed to be a video, but I really couldn't. I was like about 4 days in. I was gonna try to do it for an entire month, and yeah, that didn't work out. There's so many things that reminded me of why I do not want to stay on that game, which kind of shows this article makes some sense. But going in, popular among children and teens, Genshin Impacts are free to download, but it generates significant revenue due to sale of in-game virtual currency and other content. Players advance in the game by collecting virtual heroes, forming a team, completing tasks. 5-star heroes most desirable, given powers, can only be obtained by opening loot boxes, which players can purchase using virtual currency. There's a bit of vagueness in that, because it's not just by purchasing. The complaint alleges that Genshin Impact's purchasing process obscures the reality that consumers commonly must spend large amounts of real money to obtain 5-star prizes, and that some children have spent hundreds or even thousands of dollars to win them. Alleges that the system is challenging and confusing for children and teens, must exchange real dollars for bundles of virtual currency, re-exchange multiple times to open, with exchange rates in unusual denominations. Complicated system, according to the complaint, misleads consumers about the amount of money that players spend on loot boxes on an ongoing basis, and the amount of money players will likely need to spend to obtain certain prizes. Okay, this is where it's like it gets to the legal bits, because there has to be some form of legal jargon of laws that we don't know about, to where they can just stretch it in that narrative so far. Because to the naked eye, it makes it seem like it's dang near a requirement. But I think this isn't a matter of in the context of being able to collect everyone, like every 5-star character. Because with the rates that the game currently has, being able to collect every 5-star and their weapon, you're probably better off actually hitting up a casino at that point to even make any money. Because god dang, them rates suck. It's probably mainly because of that. Like, I don't know if even the luckiest players in existence could pull even every character free to play. Like, I don't know if that player exists, because I feel like I would have known about it, knowing how long I've been in the Gacha community. But I don't know about this complicated system and exchange rates with unusual denominations. Like, it can only go a matter of a couple of ways. Like, it can't be the exchange rate of how much actual real life money it costs, because they have to charge different prices in different countries to cater towards specific economies. Like, that's one thing. But I think it's a matter of how many primos it costs to do a single or a multi. About like they're probably confused on why it costs specifically 160 and not just some like flat number like 50 or 100 or something. Or just a matter of they don't know that Genesis crystals convert to Primo Gems 1-to-1. Like, it's enough in this article to tell me that they're looking at it. There's not enough, like, in-depth research that was truly done into Genshin just because of how they're wording a lot of things. But on the other end, it's like at minimum Genshin should be getting slack for how it does a lot of things. But let me see. Well, how do they keep cooking? Hoyoverse drives consumer demand for Genshin Impact loot boxes through several promotional channels inside and outside of the game, which advertise that desirable prizes will be available only on a limited basis, according to the complaint. It includes event banners to promote these limited time prizes and social media influencers to glamorize the excitement of opening loot boxes. Well, the social media influencers one, this isn't them directly doing this. This is out of the people's own. That's their own choice that they're doing that. Like, they're not getting paid to specifically summon for characters. It's like if they're in the Hoyo Creators program, it's like they'll get paid just a little change for just like obviously making videos on the game and then just like on an overall scale giving it a good rep, making it look like it's fun to play, potentially converting people into downloading the game. But the first half is just a general explanation. Let's see, anime style cartoon graphics, bright and colorful animation. Several characters will have speech or appearance of children to appeal to children. Well, I don't know about all that about the appealing to children. Well, to one extent, yes, but to the other extent, it's unfortunately appealing to another kind of person, which is another kind of person you don't want to really interact with. That is not a child in this case. Spend millions hiring social media influencers, yet through Hoyo creators, many of whom are popular with children, probably not like with just straight up actual children, but I'd say more between the range of the ages of like 14 to 18, really. Because with the kind of comments I see, that's about the best age I can generalize, because a lot of them frontal lobes are not developed. But they allege that the company's event banners and influencer campaigns give players the impression that they will have better odds of attaining a 5-star prize being promoted than they have in reality. Okay, that feels like a straight up lie. Like, I don't think Hoyo has ever said that there would be better odds of anything. Like, they have not directly changed the rate of how many 5-star like the percentage of getting a 5-star, except for the how they did the 50-50 system. Like if you lose too many, they will actually boost it a little bit in your favor, so you don't keep losing so many 50-50s. But what else have they done? They have apparently failed to comply with the COPPA rule, which requires online services and websites directed to children under 13 to notify parents about personal information they collect to obtain verifiable parental consent before collecting using any personal information collected from children. I don't know about all that. Because, first off, to make an email, you're supposed to be 13 years of age. Anyways. So, I don't know about all that. And second off, what are they supposed to do to prevent people just lying about their age when making their emails? You can't do anything about that. Some of this makes sense, some of it just doesn't. Legal things. Complaint alleges that Genshin Bank, a child-directed online service that collects personal information from children under 13, is required by COPPA to notify parents about the information it collects from children and obtain their consent or collection of personal data. Here's the thing, though. There's these things called terms of service, privacy policies that technically show this, but I think it's a matter of they're playing in on this because no one actually reads those. Alleges that even though hoyoverse was aware that children under 13 were using its service, it continued to collect personal information from children and use it without obtaining parental consent or complying with other COPPA requirements. So, it seems like at some point they were actually aware. Okay, so Hoyo was aware they were doing this to some extent. Okay, that changes the game here. Because since they were aware of this, and to some extent, then now everything is like starting to like mesh together a little bit. Well, actually a good bit. Like if I saw that the singular sentence earlier, a lot of this would have made so much more sense. Let's see, not only that, hoyoverse shared with third-party analytic firms and advertiser user ID as well as device-related persistent identifiers to track players' progress, purchase settings, and friends lists according to the complaint. Well, obviously a user ID is literally just your specific account. Device-related to track players' progress. Well, that's just in-level progress purchases. Well, the taxes exist, so they kind of do need to keep track of purchases anyways. And also, just in case it was an accidental purchase that someone made on the account, they need to keep track that those purchases were even made in the first place and they're not trying to fabricate something stupid. Like settings, so settings, like for example, so audio settings can transfer from the device. Well, they don't really transfer through the device, but I think the settings are localized specifically to the device. So if another account logs in, your settings won't change, so the gameplay experience won't feel just like weird. Like if you have your volume turned down on your account, log into another account, and then volume blasts up, that wouldn't be fun. And friends lists, okay, at this point they're just saying shit. But under the proposed order, which must be approved by a federal judge before it can go into effect, which means this hasn't happened directly yet. They haven't been actually fully penalized with a $20 million fine. So Cognisphere will be required to pay a $20 million monetary penalty and make changes to address the allegations outlined in the complaint, which means they will be prohibited from allowing children under 16 to make any purchases without affirmative express consent from a parent. Prohibited from selling loot boxes using virtual currency without providing an option for consumers to purchase them directly with real money. The fuck? But it is directly with real money. You go to the shop, you see this, it tells you how much it costs with real money. You click the thing, and then you pay with the money that's on the said card. And then it goes through, and then said Genesis crystals are on your account. So what are they doing there? That's already there. Prohibited from misrepresenting loot box odds, prices, and features. Well, they already weren't misrepresenting them anyways in the first place, but I think it might be a matter of the fact that we talk about soft pity existing in gacha games and them and Hoyo not showing how that actually works, because we know it exists. It's just Hoyo just never says anything about it. But if it's not about that, then damn. Let's see. Required to disclose loot box odds and exchange rates for multi-tiered virtual currency. They do that already. You just look into the game more. There's an info button that shows you where. And they show all the percentages for your 5-star and your 4-stars and your pities. Required to delete any personal information previously collected from children under 13 unless they obtain parental consent to retain such data, and required to comply with COPPA, including its notice and consent requirements. So, In the simplest of simplest terms, they got mad that someone had to have gotten mad that they were getting horrible luck on their rolls in the FTC, and they decided to take this to legal action. But at the end of the day, this is a bit of a sign that companies, you can only take your greed so far. Especially hoyoverse with, I think not only that, it's mainly a matter of the amount of summons you could get for free in an update. It's like, it's lower than Star Rails on average on a very consistent basis. Like, you could take some random chunk of updates that happen at the exact same time. Star Rails will average out to be more summons per update that they give out, even though both games have the same exact limited character rates. But the weapon, the light cone, Star Rails is definitively better, even though it's the same base luck percentage rate for pulling the 5-star weapon or the 5-star light cone, the same amount of pity at 80. But Genshin's is a weird system about, it's a 50% between the two featured limiteds, and then the other 50% could go towards any of the other 5-star general pool weapons. And then the fate point system where you select one at a specific pity. Well, fucking fate points. Yeah, I don't want to explain fate points, it's taking too long. And then Star Rails is just, the 75% chance for the featured one or 25% chance for the standard one. But, and then also if you lose, you win. But this is going off into too many tangents. God dang it, legal stuff. Alright, I'll explain it. Fate points. 50 on the two featured weapons. 50% on the two, on the general pool weapons. If you lose, if you get a general pool weapon instead of a limited one, the next time you get a weapon, it will be one of the limited pool ones. And if and then if you activate a weapon, fucking fate points, sorry. Here's how fate points work. You get 2 of them. You get the fate points if the 50-50 ends up being a general pool weapon or the other limited weapon you didn't choose. And once you build up 2 of those points, the next 5-star weapon is guaranteed to be the one you selected, which means it would have to go through 3 banner rotations at maximum. Star Rails, on the other hand, is just a more generous version of the character banners, which is 10 less pity at 80, even though the pity for Genshin weapon banner system is 80 also. Here's the thing, it's 75% for the limited light cone and 25% for the general pool light cones. You lose 75-25, the next one will be the limited light cone. So there's that. And that's off of that tangent of not only one thing, is that Genshin is just less generous and more greedy. But not only that, why is it only because here's the thing, HI3 has less per update in terms of gems. And obviously they have higher banner costs. But the thing is, they give out so much shit also, and there's less of a worry about power creep than Genshin is. So it's like all the side factors build up to where Genshin is the main one that takes a slack, especially with this one being the main face of it all. Even if in actual terms of popularity, like in terms of the general overall population of the entire planet space, Genshin Impact is more known. But in terms of the gaming space, Star Rail has better notoriety with a little bit less popularity. But that's just a message. In today's lesson, Genshin can never. Bro, they could. Bro, And this is the one time they could. Yeah, they caught a fine. That's crazy. Like, legal jargon is so freaking confusing. This was supposed to be so much shorter of a video, but this took too long. I might re-record this. I'm probably not. I'm done. For those of y'all that decided to stick with my rambling and my breakdown of this, leaving a like would definitely be appreciated. Subscribing obviously helps because that was tiring. I'm mentally drained from legal jargon. And also, you want to just talk general gaming stuff and not just Genshin Impact stuff, even though there is Genshin Impact stuff in there. Discord.gg/expresstrain. And with that, I'll catch you next one. Peace out.